All right, happy Wednesday, and welcome to another edition of Dating Diaries. I am your host and one half of Dating Diaries, Crystal XO, and the other half is our good man, Scorpio Mo.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Happy Friday, everybody.
Wednesday.
Damn it! I did it again. My bad.
This is the second week you've done that.
I don't know. Maybe I'm only speak on Friday saying that. I don't know. Happy Wednesday, y'all. I'm tired, but happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day. What is in your cup?
Tea.
Oh, tea. Okay. I was like, that's a different cup. It doesn't look festive. That cup doesn't look festive.
I need something to keep it hot. Anyway.
Okay.
It's tea.
Okay.
Green tea to be exact.
Nice. Okay. All right, a diverse man. Sometimes it's mimosas. Sometimes it's Jack and Coke, and sometimes it's tea.
Never Jack and Coke, but no, actually it could be. I just thought about that, but no, it's about balance.
Okay,
it's about balance.
Have anything? I need to have something. How has your week been thus far?
It's moving quick. It's moving very, very quick, but I had to get it. We're halfway through. Tomorrow will be it for me. But
that's so okay. So did you do anything for Labor Day weekend?
What did I do? Sunday I did. Yeah. I got taken out for they did it a day early. I don't know if people know this, but September is the Take a Man Out month.
Oh, I did not know that.
Of course you did. And of course you're never going to see it posted on any woman's page.
I have not seen it posted.
Of course you have it. I was going to put a dare and be like, I dare any woman. But in any case, somebody took me out just for, food and cigars. And I thought that was a very, very kind gesture. So thank you to them. That was it.
Okay, well, that's good. That's fun.
Strictly platonic, but I had a great time and I got out the house. So it was all good.
Well, I always assume if a platonic friend is taking you out take a man on a date, then they may be vying to move from platonic to something else.
No. We share birthdays. No, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. Some people can take people out and be like, you know what? You're a cool guy, and I know you do. So they just and it could be that they went their way, I went mine. We had a great time. That was it. But and this was probably at the same time you was at the Breezy Bowl.
I was at Breezy Bowl. I decided to wear my shirt because tonight we are talking about toxicity, and what better way to introduce toxicity than wearing my homemade Breezy Bowl tea. My daughter got this shirt. We doctored them up. I added some bling. We had a good time. We had a good time. But I just, hearing all the comments, I wrote an article about, for my review. I just thought, wow, this week we've definitely got to talk about toxicity, because the funny thing is, first of all, the concert was amazing.
Okay.
I had an amazing time. We had great seats, and not the t-shirt must be a polyester blend. Don't come for me, ma'am.
Gotta be Haitian Empress.
It is coming for us early in the evening, and I'm it's okay, but no, it's probably a cotton blend, but we doctored it up. It's super cute. But anyway, it was a great show, and it's crazy to me because I posted, first of all, I was introduced to Chris Brown through my daughter, who you guys have met before and who is a DJ. And she always loved music. He was a big part. I mean, this was probably our first concert, probably when she was 12. And the thing about it is the music, and she loves the artistry of it. And so we went and I expressed it, and so many people responded like, how can you support a person that did this? And I said, what are you talking about? What what are you referring to? Are you talking about the situation that happened when he was 18 years old? And she's like, yes. And I was like, okay, so let's get into this today. We're not gonna start right now, but at 36 years old, let's get into what we're gonna talk about. You know, if once toxic, always toxic. Is that what we think? I mean, how does that work? Have any of us done things at 18 that we may not want to be reminded of by 36 or 46 or beyond? You know, what does that look like? And can you ever recover from that? Even the show King's Court, one of the guys, Carlos Boozer, you know, acknowledged and took accountability for being a cheater in a past relationship. And it seems like women are like, oh, well, you're a cheater. Once a cheater, always a cheater. So that's the topic for tonight. So toxicity, is there a expiration date on it? Have you experienced it? Have you participated in toxicity? Because it doesn't just go one way. Everybody jumped on me because I defended some statements that Angie on Ready to Love made, with her saying that she had taken to busting out windows, and we were just, you know, in jest. But toxicity goes both ways. It goes male to female, female to male, whatever else you got going on. No, we're not going to discuss the colorism. We're just going to discuss the toxicity. We don't care about who people date tonight as far as like preferences. We just want to talk about toxicity. But before we get into that, I thought I had something funny that I wanted to share as we talk about things that we don't like, red flags, right? So deal breakers. This is a deal breaker that I found in a group that I'm in on Facebook that was hilarious to me. This was the topic, and I would love for you guys to share some in the chat. The topic was something that you have seen at a man's house that made you never go back. And I would ask you, I'll start before we get started with the women. I'll give you the courtesy because you're one of the only men here, if not the only, and ask you, what is something at a woman's house that you may have seen that made you never want to go back, was a deal breaker for you, or have you had that experience?
Dirty house.
A dirty house. Okay. Have you seen one of those?
Huh?
Have you seen one of those in person?
I've seen several of them.
What exactly did you see that caused your spidey senses to tingle?
Oof. Old. It's picked up stuff I seen stuff in the cabinet that was old and like milk. It was just rough, man. One I helped clean.
Okay.
And then her mother was like, he's a good man right here. Keep him.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, I was like, I'm not staying.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
But the funny thing is, like with that, because there's a lot that goes with that. Like it's when they talk about high vibration or vibration, and a lot of times, like when some people can't really seem to get it together, you can manifest all you want, but it's really based on the vibration. And if you got someone that's not at least having some type of order, like you ain't have to have the best of whatever, but as long as it's clean and tidy, I think you invite good energy. Like make your bed, not leaving dishes in the sink. Like, I don't care what you have. If you got a efficiency, if you got just having order, and it gives you peace. It's like coming home from vacation and you come in through the door with your bags, everything's in order. You're able to think clear. When you wake up in the morning and things are in order and laid out, it's clear thinking, it's preparing your day. Mm-hmm. So because not only just the dirt, but it's just like that energy rubs off or it's transferable. So I just prefer not to be around it if I can.
Okay. All right.
And roaches don't help me.
Okay. That tends to probably come along with that. Haitian Empress says she saw signs of poverty, and that was enough. There are some funny ones I thought I would just share. I know for myself, I once went to a gentleman's house and he had a couch and a chair and a TV. But when I went to the bathroom, there was a washcloth and a towel, one haphazardly hanging in the bathroom. Not
Or
anything, not anything for a guest. Because what I'm not gonna do is wash my hands and wipe them on your body towel, the towel that you dried your body or your face, washed your face with. So if there's not like because I think there's always supposed to be like a hand towel for a guest or something, or for other things. But yeah, that disturbed me, and the fact it was nothing in the house. It was a TV, a chair, and uh, uh, a love seat. It was, yeah.
okay, if you went over his house and we had discussions on the show about his car has to be presentable, right? So I'm figured if you're already there, the car was presentable. So maybe that's where all his money went.
Well, I didn't. This is back when I did not. I drove myself because for a long time, actually, probably until I met Adrian, I never would like. I just, it's not safe as a woman dating to just get in cars with people. So I would drive myself to dates. I would drive myself. I didn't want the person to come to my house, so I drove myself. So I remember this person's car. I didn't get inside of it, and I'm glad I didn't, because then I would have had to have him take me home, and then I like to be able to exit when I want. I like to have that freedom. And when you were going, like, meeting people for dates, I like to be, maybe that's because I wasn't really ready. I don't know, but I just didn't like to, no, I'll meet you there, sir. I did let one other guy pick me up, but I kind of knew him, before. But other than that, no, I'll meet you there, Playboy.
I never picked unless she said she didn't have a car. I never picked them up. I wouldn't.
Now back in the day, like we were younger, we would date that way. But this is a crazy world. And not only would I drive myself, but I'll park in a weird place because I don't want them checking my license plate. I was always trying to be safe. Just trying to be safe. Like, you don't want somebody to. There's some crazy things that happen. And I think as a woman, you have to be safe.
I told you the woman bring her friend to the date.
Oh no.
Told me to go to have the drinks, and then she still wound up ordering the food. But yeah, and then she was like, well, I just brought her. She's not going to stay too long, but because you can never be too safe. And in my mind, I'm looking at her and the friend, and I'm like, I could beat both of y'all up. Like,
maybe you can, maybe you can't.
You need to bring your brother or your uncle or your father or somebody. You're gonna bring another chick who I could beat both of y'all up. So that she's irrelevant.
Again, maybe you could, maybe you couldn't. Okay.
Oh, I saw both of them. I see you.
I'm just saying. I don't know. It's kind of hard to take two people down at once.
I've done it. I'll leave it at that.
I don't know if we're talking about the same thing. Let me read some more of these hilarious things. One of the ladies said his bed was a twin size. What is something you saw at a man's house that made you never want to go back? He had a twin size bed. That is hilarious. That may be my favorite.
The bed stuff can be tricky, fellas.
A twin size bed.
Yeah. It's no way, but that just lets me know. He said, "Mama, can I take the bed?"
I'm taking, or she said, "Go on and take your bed from, go on and take your bed." No, twin size bed. Leftovers in the toilet. That is disgusting. And somebody else said, "What is something that was a man's house that made you never want to go back?" His mom.
Interesting.
Somebody else said a pregnancy test. In the bathroom, another lady said a woman climbing through his kitchen window. Somebody else has texted a picture of the gentleman's refrigerator.
Yikes.
A ring around the toilet. Yikes. A nasty floor. Yeah. What are some of the things that you guys have seen at a man's house that would make you not want to go back? Oh, another thing, this was another guy's house. That was the last time I found a card to him from a woman on his nightstand.
Fellas, that's a rookie mistake. You always scan the room before. That's a rookie.
Well, I will be honest. It was in the nightstand.
Nigga. She's a snooper. See, this is.
It was in the nightstand. He left me in the bedroom. It was in the nightstand, but it was my women's intuition kicking in, because you guys know what? I opened the nightstand. It was kind of cracked. I just nudged it open. I saw the card. I read the card. I Googled the person's name. Come to find out, it was his wife. He was still married, cheating on his wife. And this was a property that they owned, and that he owned before he got married, so he still had it. So yes.
Honeycomb hideout.
Yeah, but I mean, I needed to know. I needed to understand that, and that's what I say about women's intuition. You got to know if there's something wrong, we usually sense it. And I totally sensed it, and but I did have confirmation. So then I confronted him, and he was irritated that I confronted him. But I mean, hey, you got a card from a woman. If there's women's clothing, women's jewelry, earrings, tampons underneath the bathroom sink.
Well, I know somebody that just keeps them because of whenever. But the jewelry thing could be tricky, because I had women from long ago leave stuff. I mean, I've gotten rid of them, but I had a box of just different stuff that women, curling irons, and some of them I gave away to other people. They didn't mind. And then some of them I just had to throw away. Hot comb, all kind, not hot combs.
Hot comb?
Not hot comb. We call
flat
it
iron.
Flat iron. Yeah, she kept it too. I gave it to somebody else.
Who is leaving a flat iron at a man's house?
Man, I used to have a box full of just stuff and shoes. I mean, not like flat shoes, like not what do you call it? Flat. Yeah, flip flop. Yeah, because you go under your bed off all kind of watch.
Why would she leave her flip flops though? That meant she left in another shoe. She had a sensible, comfortable shoe, and she left that. This Tina says he had wig hair strings that I noticed on the bathroom floor. He said it was his mom's.
Hey, it's another thing too about that. I'm glad you said we claiming up a lot of stuff. Here's what happens. Because I was breaking in my house. This wasn't this place. This was the place, 2 places before this. What I found out was, and this is why you got to vacuum too. If you like your socks, if something was on the carpet, if you ain't vacuum, and then you could drag it in, and it could be something old. You see what I'm saying? But it could be on the carpet and on your sock. Then you go into like a clear floor space, like a bathroom or a kitchen, and you'll leave it there. You'll drag it from somewhere else. This is why it helps the vacuum guys.
Likely story, sir.
I'm dead serious.
So how did you watch? Did you watch you drag it from the living room to the bathroom?
I just moved in. I kept saying, well, I didn't just move in, but it's maybe 2 months in. I kept saying, no one's been here. How does new hair keep appearing? And then I looked at and just figured it out one day. I'm standing up and I'm like, yo, I'm dragging from the carpet into the bathroom. And that's how this, because I really thought like the apartment people were coming in, cleaning, checking in. It kept happening. And that's
Well,
why.
I just am trying to figure out how did it get off your sock. That is a great story
No,
that you can
hey,
you can tell a girl. That does sound right, right?
no, I never told her. I accused her. I was like, yo, did you make an extra key and get? She was like, what are you talking about? And then like I said, it dawned on me. I'm looking at it's a real thing. You ain't got to believe me.
No, I believe in you. I mean, we're here to talk it out. We're here to talk it out. But I'm just wondering how, because if it's clinging onto the sock, how does it come loose in the bathroom?
You might take your sock off in the bathroom, some hair follicles come out, you moving around, you know that little rug, it'll come back off on that little rug in the bathroom. You see what I'm saying? So
this sounds like a well thought out alibi. I'm just saying. You guys let me. It sounds like a well thought out alibi.
And this is why we lie, because the truth is not good enough.
Oh no, you guys' lies are usually way worse than that. So that's actually that's a lie that'd be hard to refute, right? But yeah. Karen says, Mo, let me find out you're the Black Bay Beauty Supply Store. That is hilarious because I don't know if I would take another girl's flat iron and flatten my hair with it.
And she was having complications with her hair, someone else obviously. And then I was like, she was like, I wish I had my such and such. Dang, I left it at home. I was like, hey, because here's the thing. A lot of times they ask me for a brush. Apparently, obviously I don't have that. They ask me for stuff that's not, for a man, but I had this thing and she was like, and this is a good one too. Where you get this from? I was like, somebody left it here.
And did you give it to her?
A lot of questions because they need it.
Yeah.
It's the gift that keeps on.
That is hilarious. The Black Bay Beauty Supplies of a curling iron, a flat iron, jewelry, shoes.
Hey man, I just let me not tell that. But yeah, people leave stuff all the time.
I know somebody left a purse. This is why they leave a purse, which is weird because how do you leave without your purse?
They come and switch them out,
Some of these women are leaving things to mark their territory.
All right, I do. Hey, as soon as they leave, I do check. Sometimes, if it's right away, I call them before they get out the parking lot. Real, hey, you might want to.
You left something here.
Yeah. Then I got the mini vat to try to, I ain't gonna say what I call it, but I think you remember because I told you that time.
Share with the people. I mean, Mo. This is not like you can shock them very much.
Yeah, I can't say that on here. I'm trying to clean up my act. Listen, but at the mini vat, hey, you know how many times they done left here with t-shirts and basketball shorts I've never seen again.
That is true. That is true. And that is very difficult to explain to another guy. Whose shorts are these?
Exactly.
My son's. But thankfully I didn't really have nobody over at my house because I had kids, so I didn't worry about that. But anyway, that was our dating deal breakers. What have you seen at someone's house that made you not want to visit again, or that made the relationship over? I definitely think I don't feel like I was wrong for nudging open that nightstand drawer. I feel like it was meant to be. I needed to know that information. And how else would I have known? Because what I did is I opened the drawer, I saw the card, I Googled the person's name, and then I also Googled the address. Come to find out, this person had given me a fake first name. He was telling me to call him by his middle name, but his middle name was not on the house. So when I Googled the address, the person's name that came up was his first name. So then I Googled the first name, and then I found a wedding video.
Woo. Fellas, it's over, y'all. I don't know why we continue to do this. Like that part of the cheating thing or it's over, man.
Hey, I'm telling y'all, I was literally like, women. I do think because we were made second, women are just smarter than men. We just are.
I don't know about that part, but
I do. I mean, just because yes, on Google. So what happened is, this is a fun story. The card is what set everything off. I was like, something's not quite right. Who is this card? Who is this to? And it wasn't even like a romantic card. It was like a card to a woman from somebody else,
mm-hmm.
like her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Why would he have a card from another woman from her mom? That set me off really thinking. So I Googled the name. I put all types of that, but it was the address, because I had the address in my GPS because I had driven there. Because I was like, is this her house? But it looked like, his stuff was all there. But yeah. And then the different name came up. Google that name, and then a whole wedding video. Because when you get married, if you do get married and have a wedding, it does come up. Comes up when people Google it. As long as you have the right name and you know what's going on. Just saying. Yeah. Men, I should stop lying. So then when I confronted the gentleman, he tried to lie, and then I was just like, I had at that point the information on the wife. I had her name, where she worked.
While he was in the bathroom?
When he came out, yeah, I did all that while he was in the bathroom.
Wow.
When he came out, I didn't have all the information. I had some of it. I had the fact that it was married. When I went home, I was able to continue my search, and that's why I found the actual video and all that. So then I confronted him. Now, this person had told me that he had never been married and that he had been engaged and had called it off at the last minute. Meanwhile, there's a whole wedding video, because the person that did the video had the video on their site. So I'm like, I'm telling y'all, I'm good. And that's not even how I caught. So, like, the only person that, I was married to before and was cheated on, I did a whole thing and found out. Like, women, that women's intuition is going to let you know all you need to know.
That shit don't work. You just feel it. We all got the same intuition. That's all.
Y'all don't have the same intuition.
Oh, yes, we do. We just don't speak about it. We do.
Tell us about your intuition. I don't believe I've never in the history of my adult life heard of a man's intuition.
It's called people's intuition, and everyone has it if they tap into it. We do. We do. I'm sorry.
I don't believe you guys do.
All right.
If you did, then you would know when a woman was gassing you up and lying to you just because she wanted to get something out of it. And you all don't seem to be able to figure that out.
Well, maybe because we're getting something out of it too.
Well, then that's not intuition, okay?
I'm saying, sometimes we know, we just don't like to spoil it. We know, or we don't care.
I don't think you know, and I don't think you care, because every girl, every guy I know thinks when he goes to a strip club, there are women that just really are into him.
It's rookies. It's rookies. That sounds more like women to me, because they're the ones that fall in love with what they hear. Men fall in love with what they see.
And what they hear, trust me.
You hear, you're the ones that's falling for the whatever he's telling you.
Obviously, we don't, because I searched and found.
They could tell you like that clip that went viral. It's like, so how come you can't tell? When does it kick in? The women's into it, because obviously it don't kick in the.
Well, a lot of times it does kick in, but women just don't want to leave, so they continue to stay. But it does kick in. I don't think men have. I've never. It doesn't even sound right. Men's intuition. It's women's intuition.
It's people's. We all have.
I don't ever heard people's intuition either.
Third eye. Third eye. We'll get to that's a whole nother thing. I don't want to get too deep into y'all, but into that. But it's all good. It's all good. Let y'all keep thinking we don't, and it's cool.
It is cool. We're fine with it. Moving on. Moving on. Meanwhile, ladies at the strip club, keep getting your money. And ladies doing your thing, keep getting your money.
Yeah.
Even swap ain't no swindle. I love it. Whereas the Jew said even swap ain't no swindle. But okay, this is a toxic conversation. So let's get into the toxicity. Let's get into the conversation about toxicity. First of all, like I said, it was funny because we were going to the concert and I was in the car with my daughter, one of my good friends, and a friend of ours that's gay. And we were talking about a couple of the songs, and it was like there was a song called Goodbye, and the guy is saying, it's not you, it's me. I just don't feel the way I used to feel about you. It's not you, it's me. I got to figure out what I need. Kind of like the Donnell Jones song, Where I Want to Be, And we were just saying, we were calling BS on it. However, I'm sorry, my daughter and the gay guy and my girlfriend all agreed we really don't care if Chris Brown says something like that, or a guy that you really, really, really like. We don't charge him the same, right? We don't care if he's saying toxic things because, the juice is worth the squeeze, right? So then as we got there, I overheard a lot of women. I was in a section. We were right in the front. There were women, there were aunties there, right? A lot of us I didn't think I was going to see people my age, but there were people my age and even older hanging on and shouting things out that were crazy. And I wondered, like, at what point do we decide if is someone else toxic, if we decide we're okay with it, or are we toxic as well? So if I'm talking to a guy and I know that he's lying to me about something, right? And he's showing me some toxic signs. Like one of my exes, I remember I looked out my curtain and he was driving around my cul-de-sac. I didn't know so that felt a little stalkerish. Felt a bit stalkerish. However, I liked him enough to where I ignored it. I didn't go to the door. He called me and was like, "What are you doing? Are you home?" And I was like, I think I told him I was home, but I didn't let him know that I saw him circling my cul-de-sac. But my question is, I think that was a toxic sign. That was him showing me he was toxic. But was I also toxic because I didn't stop seeing him when I saw that he displayed something that could have been dangerous later? Nola says, I always say toxic is fun until it's not. That's what we're talking about today. What do you think, Mo?
Wow, toxic is fun until okay. The first thing that comes to mind is that phrase they say about it's probably people. I don't even want to put it on the ladies like that. But we make rules for the people we don't like, and we break the rules, those same rules for the people we like, right? And it's just who you want to put that on. If you're not feeling that person, like for instance, the Halle Berry getting smacked in the ear thing, you know what I mean? That whole thing. It was rumors of about 3 guys that were public, but the wild part is they assumed it was the darker guy, and it wasn't. It was the lighter guy, one of the lighter guys. I don't put no names out there. Y'all Google it. But
yeah, because I can't remember. I know well, David Justice came out and said it wasn't him.
Yeah, it wasn't him.
And he was upset because
she didn't
got blamed for it. But everybody assumed at the time that it was Wesley Snipes.
That's my point. You see what I'm saying? But it was actually the other guy. You can say his name. I don't want to say his name.
I'm not saying it.
Huh?
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah,
because I don't, we don't want to be held liable for anything. But
right. I'm not. But y'all look it up. Who's the other light skinned guy in her life? But that kind of thing. So it's just like you make, you accept things, or he's just showing that he really loves me. That's how he loves. We make excuses for it until it gets dangerous.
And that's why she said it's fun until it's not, because
fun about it.
Well, I think what she meant is that a lot of times, like for instance, the situation with the guy that was slightly stalking, okay, it was a light stalk. That it can feel like that person is very passionate about you. It can feel like, yes, Haitian Empress, the one who aged like old milk, pasteurized milk.
Bingo.
Indeed. But if a person is, it can feel, I've heard women say, well, he's acting like that because he's jealous, because he really cares about me. I've even heard people say that if a person is not showing signs of jealousy, they don't think that the other person really cared about them, right? They feel like it's passionate. The passion makes it make sense. Now, I want to ask you, and we're not going to say any names because we know each other's past, a lot of it. There was a situation where you kept dealing with a person that I felt like was very toxic, but you were very enchanted with her skills, her skill set, right? So in that situation, because you were like, well, I enjoy this, right? And I was like, but she's a mean person. Like, she's done things to you that were hurtful, right? But you were open to her because you don't know what I'm talking about.
I know you're talking about. I'm trying to think, what did she do that was hurtful? She might did some things I don't like. I don't know.
No, she did something that was hurtful. I'm texting you. Now the people are gonna be mad.
Steal my car.
Yes, that's what I was gonna text. That was not cool.
Yeah, she gave it back.
That is a perfect example.
I don't look at that as like. I guess we got to define. I don't look at that as toxic. Now, what I would say was the thing that I let you hear. Remember that I played for you?
Yeah.
Of her and her ex. Now, I would use that as an exhibit A as far as her being toxic. And I don't know if she actually done anything, but just her verbiage and her energy and her, her voice and that kind of thing. But
so why would you not think that you did something to, you were in this position because you trusted her, and her taking advantage of that trust? Why would you say that that's not toxic?
I don't know. I'm be honest with you. I know that's what women do when they hurt. They act out. Most of them, not all of them, but they'll do something. We just got on here and you just explain why you didn't think somebody cheating should not have their windows bust out, or you didn't see. Like, I'm used to them acting it out, whether it's showing up, complaining, yelling, or whatever it is. So her trying to say my that kind of thing, I didn't really look at that as a toxic trait. Now, if she would have busted the windows out of it, I would have.
That is crazy. So you can steal my car, just don't deface it.
Well, she tried to, but yeah.
Okay, so let's start here. Let's everybody put their definition of toxic in the chat. What is your definition of toxic? Because it feels like we all have a different definition. What is your definition of toxic?
Stealing, I don't necessarily, unless she stole my dog or something.
Oh my God. But I don't think stealing is toxic. Wow. That's so we all have a different definition.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So basically the definition of being toxic is just behavior that is consistently malicious, manipulative, or harmful to others, bringing negativity, conflict, and stress to the relationship.
Oh, no, I still don't need to put her. That just made me think of a gang of other people.
That not the Paisley you didn't even want. You know what? What is happening? What does that have to do with anything? Kyle Scorpio Mo is
I don't
toxic.
know what. Yeah, I'm talking about other stuff.
I'm setting clothes on fire so you can't go anywhere. Hey, baby, that is toxic. That is definitely toxic. I don't know if you've had that happen. Just want to clear up that I did not do that.
The showing up unannounced, the arguing in public, I never dealt with any of that.
Just attempting to steal a car.
No, I mean, well, technically, it was signed under her name. She was, but yeah, you could say that. She had to do something for me and wouldn't give it back. But yeah, I mean, if you want to put it under there, I'll take that. That's cool. I'm
just saying it fits this because I think we all like to pardon behavior if we like the person.
I know I like what she did. I don't pardon like that kind of behavior. I don't like we roared that kind of behavior. I was being rewarded if anything, but yeah. I mean, that's cool. I'll take that. If that's what I'll take that. That's cool.
So people are saying that the word consistency is important here because it says behavior that is consistently malicious, manipulative. Because can I tell you this? I have one of my guy friends, not Mo. He was seeing this girl, and whenever she would want him to do something, she would start crying and kind of take him down, try to guilt him into something. And I said, she is being emotionally manipulative. And he was like, you're right, because most men do not want to see a woman cry. Now, there are some men that are okay with it. They don't mind. They don't mind and it don't matter. But we're not, there are most men, for the most part, don't want to see a woman crying and hurt right in front of them. They may be okay with it if they don't have to look at it, right?
Wrong.
Right. I don't mind cheating on you and making you cry, but I just don't want to have to look at it. I really don't choose to look at it, right? So he did not like seeing her cry, but she was manipulating him. So I think sometimes women can be manipulative, and that is a form of toxic behavior.
It's the mental toxicity.
Yeah. Not toxicity is not only the people that are stalking you or busting the windows out of your car. DC says, Christal, toxicity is simply behavior that disrupts your energy, your whole aura, your vibe. That is a mature definition of toxicity, yes. So anything that's anti, where you're taking you off the path in the trajectory where you're going, definitely.
I gotta add somebody else to the list there. Once you said that part, I was like, yeah, gotta put another name up there.
Okay, let's say R.E. Bradley. I love when guys jump in here. I can't relate. I guess I have lived a mundane life. My ex-wife tried to fight me at the top of the stairs, screaming that I was trying to throw her down the stairs. Well, I mean, she, I'll say this is toxic. A lot of times women will want a man to react because they will feel like if he doesn't react, then he is not really into me, or he doesn't, I'm hurting and he's not hurting. So I want to make him feel something, right?
Nonchalant to get you busted upside your head.
Yeah, nonchalant. I don't like guys like that. I learned a long time ago, like I need to feel something. In the words of Chris, I need to feel something. I don't like that. Don't work with me. That does not work with me, because I think the opposite of love is not hate, it's really indifference. So if a person, because once you've checked out and a person is like crying and you really don't care, That's worse than if you are angry at them, because if you're angry at them, you still care. If you're just like, that hurts worse than anything, and that can incite toxicity. And that can make a person turn toxic. I think what I really think is important in tonight's decisions, we've all been toxic in some way, right? Everybody has participated in something that, because of how they felt at the moment, when you act on your feelings, it can become toxic. Let me give you, if a person gets cheated on and their reaction, they can't control their reaction, and their reaction causes somebody else to get hurt, or their reaction causes them to hurt themselves, that can be seen as toxic. But so I think that in most situations through our lives, we have probably participated in some toxic behavior. Would you guys agree with that? Yes or no?
Yes. Police, calling the police, messing with somebody's job.
Yeah, all that is toxic. I know a girl that says she literally she hit herself in the face to try to, like on the movie, to get a guy to have to go to jail. All types of things.
Ooh.
Lied about, like, people lying and saying babies are somebody else's baby. DC says that they've never been toxic. You've never been toxic, DC? Not never? Not never. Not never. I don't know. That's a tall order.
Oof.
That's a tall order. I definitely can admit that I've been, my reactions have been toxic, but it's also very difficult. And I'm not saying it's right. I know people really got upset with me for, and I was being funny about Angie on Ready to Love. But I also do think that when you really love somebody and they do something that really hurts you, kind of what you said, Mo, about a man has to know a woman is going to react a certain way, because you should not play with people's feelings, and that causes, you can't dictate how that person is going to react to the pain. You can say, you know what? Yes, I cheated on you. And yes, you just found out. However, you should choose to be mature and walk away, because you reacting this way towards me is very unhealthy and toxic. And it's like, it's toxic to stay in a relationship with someone and cheat on them. Just leave.
But the funny thing is, I've seen people do the wrongdoing, then play the victim.
That's true.
And then when the other person responds to them playing the victim, it's spent around, and now that person is the bad guy. And it's like, yo, what? And I've seen that both ways. Now, not just women, both ways. Like, the guy gets caught cheating, and then he spins it around and brings up something from, well, if it wasn't for it, just like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just not a fan of the villain playing the victim. I don't like that.
And that happens. Hey, Edna, welcome, Edna. I have a guy friend that told me he did that on purpose, and I was like, do you know how that is diabolical to do? When he got caught cheating, he would immediately flip it around the girl and say to her, well, are you going to leave? Because if you're going to leave, I don't want to go back and forth about this conversation. I don't have anything to say. If you're going to stay here and want to work it out, we can talk. But if you're going to leave, then just go right now. Like, just flipping the dynamic to where that's
just like, let's get to it. What you caught me, what we going to do? I just don't want to.
He admitted that he knew what he was doing, because it takes away the victim. It makes her now. It puts the victim now in a position where she has to choose what she wants to do, which is really not fair for her to have to do right there in that moment. He knew what he was doing, and he admitted it. He was like, I said that is really hateful, to hurt somebody and then make them responsible for their own pain in that moment. That is really not cool. And he knew it. He laughed about it.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, so I'm saying you can't say that's him getting to it. No, that's him not wanting to be accountable for what he did.
I get it. I'm saying if I would never be in that position, but if I were, I'm gonna listen to enough for you to get it out. But then I'm like, so what we gonna do? Because after a while,
that's toxic, Mo. You're a toxic person.
You start repeating yourself. You're talking to yourself at that point. I heard everything you have to say, and okay, even if you tell me, look, I just need time. Okay, say that. But once you start repeating yourself, what are we doing? I'm just there for you to vent to get it out. Either you're gonna stay, you're gonna leave, or you're gonna think about it. And whatever it is, get to that. Once you start repeating yourself.
I don't like it. It's toxic. It doesn't. I don't like it. That's not because you don't. When you hurt somebody, you don't tell them to hurry up and figure out what they want to do with the hurt. Figure out how you want to bleed. Get this together.
I said you could tell me you need time to think about it. But after a while, I'm just like, I don't even hear you no more. I get it. You're mad. But now you're repeating yourself, and I let you do the first round and repeat. Now you're on the second round. I'm just like, now I'm out of it. I'm not even there. I can't.
Although, what is, because that sounds extremely toxic. But what is have you ever been? Well, you probably have not. You probably have not. That is the problem with this with the conversation.
If I got a friend that has a problem, and he comes to me and he says, yo, Mo, I'm having this problem. I'm thinking this. I'm like, okay. And I'm listening. And then he asks for advice. I give him advice. And then he keeps reiterating the same problem over and over. I'm like, yo, God, what you going to do? Like, you keep repeating. I'm about, hey, man, let's figure it out. But you keep repeating the same thing. It's like, what we doing, dog? Don't keep coming to me telling me about this girl every day if you ain't ready to do nothing about it. I heard you the first time. I heard you the second time. I gave you advice. What we doing?
So, okay, why were you able to be a good friend to me when I was in that situation? And I know.
Because you didn't repeat this. And number one, it's advice. You didn't be like, what should I do?
I did repeat the same thing over and over again a lot.
No, but you never asked me, like, I don't know if you was paying attention. I said, if you ask me what to do, and I tell you what I think you should do, or I say I don't know, that's one thing. But if I say, yo, do this, and you say, yeah, I would do that, then tomorrow you iterate the same thing. And every day I'm listening to the same thing. I'm like, what we doing?
I think I did. I definitely asked you what.
Dude, I know you ain't never asked me what to do.
Really?
No, you ain't never asked me what to do.
I just cried, I guess.
Thank you.
Be out, ladies. Yeah. So what do you think about the time period? Can you admit to ever being toxic in a relationship, Mo?
We weren't in a relationship, but I was on the road to toxicity, yes. And I'll give you one example. And I'm only saying this because, and I said this before, and just because C Boogie is in the
chat.
In the chat. When I first came in, definitely. I tried to kick a chick out his car.
I thought you did.
Nah, she was home. Corey was a gentleman. I'm not. I wasn't back then. I told her to get the F out, get out. I cussed her all the way out there. I was like, man, kick her, like pull over and kick her. He wouldn't do it.
Why would you want him to do that? What if something happened to her? She
was from here. She'd be all right. She should think about that before she start running her mouth. That's how I was feeling then. I was 21. I just came down here very spunky.
That East Coast, man. That East Coast.
I'm like, yo, who you talking to? That's how I was talking. She was talking to me slick. I'm like, yo, who you talking to?
See, Boogie said he could not do it. And thankfully, we're so thankful, C Boogie, that you were that type of man. Because that is crazy.
I'm a different dude now.
He said he was right though. What was she doing?
Man, see, you don't even hear the story and automatically I'm wrong.
Because there's nothing that a woman should do to make you feel like you should put her out on the side of the road.
But see, that's the problem. The fact that they know that, well, some women know that, they feel like they can just do anything. And no, you can't. No, you can't. Like, you gotta, like, if you know, well, then here it go. Well, you know you stronger than her. She should think about that before she open her mouth. and talk slick, and you don't know me. You know what I'm saying? Like, watch your mouth. I watch my mouth. I'm respectful. I'm respectful, and I know I can beat your ass, but I'm still respectful. You know you can't be my ass, but you want to be disrespectful. That don't make no sense.
Well, in the women's defense, some of us do think that we may be able to, and then we start feeling like we can, and then you get reminded, and that does sound a bit toxic. I'm wondering, do we think that toxicity can change? Can you work on your toxicity?
That's like saying, can someone grow up? Of course. Of course. Of course.
Do you think once a relationship has been exposed to toxicity on either side, that do you think the best thing to do is just leave the relationship, or do you think that you guys can figure out how to get it from a toxic place to a healthy place?
I think that's extremely hard, because the triggering thing is, that's the thing. I think you might be able to put it over here, but trying to keep re-entering, putting that same key in the lock, even though that lock got jammed so many times, it's like, you just never know. It could be triggering. I don't think it's necessarily good. Maybe you have to be 20, a person can snap. I sent you a picture today of Ike Turner. Did you see the picture I sent you?
I did not.
Ike Turner was slobbing down Shaka Khan. Now, Shaka Khan was just divorced.
Okay.
He was young. And Ike was still married to Tina. And this is what I'm saying. So do you think a person like Ike, if Tina saw that and Ike did what he did, you saw the clip where Ike was like, he kept asking Tina what was wrong. Then
and he even, there was one clip where he said something about he should have slapped, like he asked her something, he should have slapped her. Like he said it in an interview, and it was like the interview person was like,
yeah, well, this one he talked about he did, and it was like, that's a toxic dude. I don't care what he's in. He's controlling.
Yeah.
Maybe with Tina, I wouldn't trust him with Tina. Maybe someone else.
Eat the cake. Yeah.
I don't even know if I would trust when he was a wild boy. He was.
Yeah, I do think a lot. I think a lot of times, it is toxicity can be a part of the culture, right? So it could be like, Mo should be Ike for Halloween. You should.
About that, me and Ike Turner have the same birthday.
Well, but I think that a lot of times toxicity is part of the culture, to where, like, men saying women shouldn't talk. I don't want, women should shut the F up, or blah, blah, blah. Like, a lot of times that is what we're taught. Like that, men should do what they want. If a man cheats, you should just leave him alone. Like, it's a lot of things that were part of the culture that were toxic that we did not realize.
Especially,
yes, machismo is toxic. Toxic masculinity, that's that entire term is it creates toxicity in relationships, right?
When you say masculinity, it only puts it on the men.
That's true. That's why tonight we're talking about both sides. I want it to be fair.
No, I'm just saying with the statement they said, the woman that put grits on, that threw grits on Al Green.
Yes.
There you go. Or then you could swing it and you could turn around and look at what's the brother that married what's the name's wife and then slept with the daughter. He was a wild boy. Think you learned Bobby Womack, toxic dude. Super.
Yeah, that's not that is beyond toxic. I think that's like a personality disorder. Something wrong.
Dude.
Vacation Every Day has a good point. If you both really want it to work, it can be done. You have to self-reflect and improve. Don't be dismissive of the other person. This is outside of physical abuse. That's zero tolerance. I agree with that. I think that people can always change. I think you just have to really want to. And you have to have a partner that's willing to put in the work to do that. And both have to understand, both people have to take accountability for their actions.
Let me ask you this. So it's this, I can only imagine someone trying to work something out with somebody who went upside their head for the 10th, 20th time.
Now, I don't think physical abuse I don't think you can work on physical abuse. I don't.
That's just.
I don't think, we were talking about toxic. I'm talking about behavior that's toxic. I think when there's physical abuse, you have to get out of the situation, because even if, just like with The Color Purple, when Mr. tried to be nice, it's like, it's cool, but it's not for me. It's not for me.
There you go.
She literally was like, she had moved on. I don't think you can, because when a person is physically and even emotionally abusive to an extent, they make you feel a certain way about yourself. So you can't, it's really damaging to stay in a relationship.
What about social media, right? And we talked about mental, it being mental as well, right? So the clips around with the Brittany Reiner situation, that, and we see the different the Cardi B and Offsets, and then we seen obviously with just these couples, and we're seeing it and everyone's in the business, right? And that's a form as well, correct?
I think so. I think that's a perfect example. Like both of those situations, Cardi and Offset, I don't know them personally, but I would just assume that the toxicity is going on both sides, right? Because you see both sides are doing stuff. Haitian Empress said, you started this whole discussion with Chris Brown, a man who savagely beat a woman. So I would just ask you guys, and we've talked about this, and it's not even, I mean, this is something that happened almost 2 decades ago. But I would ask this question: if in a couple, both people are physically being abusive to each other, why do we only put blame on the stronger person? In that particular situation, there was proven physical abuse on both sides. And I'm not saying it was right or excusable or anything, but
was it her fighting back? Because I'm confused. I never heard that.
No, it was not. The relationship was toxic, and there was physical abuse happening on both sides. So in that situation, in that particular instant, but people that were around them, and I don't even want to get into that. I don't want to get into that because that's totally different. But if there's abuse on both sides, not somebody sees something, text message makes me mad, I hit you, you hit me, we go back and forth. Obviously, the guy is going to have the better, it's going to come out better in a fight, especially when everybody's emotions are off, right? But I don't think that it doesn't mean that it's only toxic one way. I think it's toxic both ways. So if my daughter hits a guy and they fight, I definitely I'm gonna want him to be put in jail, but I also, and especially because she's small and she probably would be hurt, but I also tell my daughter, you don't put your hands on a guy. Now, I talked to my son about this, and he said that it is a guy's responsibility, even if a girl is putting her hands on him, to walk away because you could hurt her. But he also probably has never been really physically attacked by a woman. I just, and you said earlier, like, she don't know what a person can do. So if a woman is hitting you and you hit back, are you both not toxic?
If I hit back?
If she hits you and you hit her, are you the only one that's toxic?
It depends. Am I hitting her to get her off of me, or am I hitting her to fight her? If I'm hitting to fight, because at that point it's self-defense. Once the one person is the other one, you have the right, male or female, to defend yourself, and that's where it gets a little tricky.
Yeah, but when you're in defending yourself, you can knock the person out. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's just I didn't even want to go this far, but it's just I just think it is toxic. It can be toxic on both sides. And I think as a man, you have to know. I did not know that if a man hits a woman and goes to jail for domestic violence, he is not able to have a weapon anymore. Like if he's convicted of domestic violence, he can't have a weapon. So if you do something and you hit her back in self-defense and you go to jail for that, your life in many ways is not going to ever, it's going to be over in many different ways. You probably won't be able to get some jobs. Like it's over. So how do we teach men to control or to navigate that?
Whew. It's tough, man. Avoid situations where you have to even, kind soul. It's rough because in some cases you can see where this person is going to always match your energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see it early. And you can start to see it in friendly banter. They're always matching your energy. So just know when they're matching your energy with the good stuff, they could very well match your energy with the bad stuff.
Yeah.
If you got a big female cousin or just a tough one, keep them handy. I would recommend. I keep a big chick on payroll just in case. $100 just in case. You just never know. You never know.
At this age, you do not need that.
I probably need it more this time. They think I'm an old man and I ain't going to do nothing.
So you would have your big cousin go beat them up?
I am not, but I pay somebody $100 anyway.
$100.
I'm not with. I don't like the physical thing. Keep their hands to themselves. Once you find inner peace in you, be the nonchalant. But that's when I think the trouble starts. That's when it gets worse. Throwing stuff. When they see these things aren't affecting you, or as soon as it happens, bring out your phone. Since everybody likes to record everything, bring out your phone.
Speaking of bringing out the phone, there was a video that Melody Holt posted where she accuses Martell of hitting her. She also accuses him of pulling a gun on her. And I wonder what I was going to pull it.
This is recent.
This is recent. I sent it to you.
All right. Oh, I couldn't. It was blurry. I couldn't see.
I sent it to you. She basically is accused. She says, you hit me, and also pulled a gun out on her. And we don't know. I don't even speculate on that. We don't know what happened, but only the two of them know exactly what happened. But I think that there are situations where whenever there are a lot of feelings involved, things can continue to escalate. So it's almost like you just have to,
or kids.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, kids, it may not be you have feelings for that person, but your feelings are involved because your child is, is a part of it. You have children with that person, or. And
I don't think that this is where it gets tricky, because just on the man side of it, like, I don't know why our love for our child has any less value. But
that's a good point. I agree with that. I think because women don't give men credit for that because they express it differently, and that's not fair. Tammy says, I've had to process women out of the military for domestic violence as well. Wow. Oof. So Tammy, when you are in the military, if there's a domestic violence issue, both of them are they discharged? Is it a dishonorable discharge? How does that work? I'm just curious. Oof. And women too. And see, I don't think we don't hear about women being charged with domestic violence, because most men are not gonna call. Now these new men, these new age men will.
It could be neighbors, but the police show up, they still act a fool, and if the police see it, they gotta take you.
Yeah.
Or if there's a knot upside the man's head and he said, I don't want to press charges, the police see that, they have to take him.
Yeah.
They don't see nothing on him, and they say, sir, do you want to? He say, no.
Edna, we're happy that you are victorious from domestic violence.
There you go.
That's good. They have to take one person to jail. Hey, you there said. It's so sad. And I think people just, I think that we have to teach men and women to manage their emotions. You know what I mean? And that's difficult to do.
Especially if you grew up in a household, you know, because a lot of times we mimic what goes on in our household. If you have a quiet household, a lot of times the kids are more laid back. But if everyone's yelling, it's just how you were raised, and then, or what you absorb, right? And then you go out into this world and you operate as if like you did in that house, or what you see.
Terry says, if you're guilty of domestic violence, you can't carry a weapon. If you can't carry a weapon, you can't be in the military. I did not know that part about you not being able to carry a weapon. That is crazy. But it speaks to the fact that we need to be teaching our children, you know, to stay out of situations that would get you to that point, right? Because I'm not everybody in a fit of anger, especially if you care about somebody, you can make a bad choice. You can let your emotions get the best of you, right? Both sides, right? Now, as a woman, you may not be able to do as much damage, but that doesn't make it right. So, and I agree with Hey You There. Adults need to seek help. Everybody needs to seek help. But I think if we teach young people that, we need to teach girls, it's not cute to try to make him respond. It's not cute to try to get a reaction out of him. And if he does something to you, even though you may be hurting, if you feel like you want to do something, call someone, call a friend, call a responsible friend, not a friend that'll go be like, let's beat the windows out of his car, but do something in that moment to where you don't react negatively. And for men, I think because we don't see men really express their emotions as often, by the time they do express it, a lot of times it's in a very negative way, right? So to end this point, teenage boys do not know how to deal with emotion. Hell, grown men do not know how to often deal with emotion. So how do we do better at teaching people? Because we laugh about people being toxic, but at the end of the day, toxicity really is people using their emotions in a way that's unhealthy, in a dysfunctional way. If I'm going to try to manipulate you with my tears, manipulate you this way. And I do think, to Hey You There's point, she says men are emotional as they are. Men are emotional, but it's not masculine to show it. So if you catch a girl cheating, and I got a friend that was in the military, and actually I got a friend that was in the military. He came home and caught his wife in bed with another man and stabbed the guy. He went to jail, right? And that changed the trajectory of his life. And he's not a bad person, but in that moment, he came back from being in the war, and he said the guy was in his amenities. He was enjoying the air conditioning and all. He snapped. He was just like, I've been in the desert fighting for my life. This man is in the air conditioner with my wife. And he snapped. So in that case, he didn't handle that. But if we had given young men options and ways to deal with painful situations, that's what I think we need to do. I mean, I don't see anything else but to teach people how to do that.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. I mean, what's the movie Snap? Like it's just some things, you know, to sit up there and see a woman, maybe it looks like she's in a man's face flirting is one thing, but that's a tough one. I don't, you know, but I think not making young men, and this is coming from older man to younger man or mother to son, is not making them feel ashamed or feel a way about coming to them or expressing their feelings. You know what I'm saying? It's a human thing. It's not you know, I don't say you go up there and you cry like a woman. We're not saying that, but we all are human. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we all
Mm-hmm.
human. And I just think allowing them to express or talk or keep open dialogue where they could come to you and express how they're really feeling, I think it's a great start. And then we just learn to channel it. I wish in school they did. I mean, because you deal with that and they got to deal with bullies in school and it's just a lot of different things. And
Yeah.
this is so they built this by the time they come out of high school, you know what I mean? Depending on who they were in high school, that's a big thing. I don't know if people realize that.
It is. I also think that it's not just romantic relationships. You have to really understand how to handle yourself, period. You can get disappointment. You could be betrayed by friends. I think managing our emotions is a big part of being able to be in a healthy relationship.
Absolutely.
And I think both sides deal with that. Just because you have not been in jail for domestic violence does not mean that you know how to handle your emotions effectively, But I think there's definitely some work that can be done. And I think I think these type of conversations where we can talk about the fact that everybody is using this word and these buzzwords, but then it's like, okay, so what does that mean? And what does that look like? And how do I become a better partner? How do I become a better person? Right? Because everybody, like I don't think there's anyone on God's green earth that has not been toxic in some situation. If you felt jealousy towards something, and even if you weren't trying to, if you reacted to something that someone else did to you in a way that could later come back to hurt you or hurt them, like it's so many different things that are toxic. If you have known that your actions could hurt somebody, but because you were, in a good place, you didn't care about them being hurt, like that's toxic. So it's so many different ways. And I think that, we just have to, I think we should teach young people how to navigate that, but also most importantly, how to take accountability for your own situation,
I think part of it is very selfish. It's like I never even looked at it that way you just described it, but I guess that is.
Yeah.
When you move like that and you're just thinking about you, I guess that is a level of it. I never thought about that. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, Hey You There says that those two words are so important: self-discipline and restraint. We have to learn how to discipline ourselves. Mo says there's a lot about being a master of your desires, but I think it's really important also to be a master of your emotions, right? And I know for myself, I can admit as a woman, sometimes if you love hard, you can feel so much pain. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to do with it. So as opposed to just being like, I don't know what to do with it, you have to figure out healthy ways of handling that, right? Because as C Boogie said earlier, you can't control what someone else is going to do. If I remember this guy said to me, you don't, if you're not ready to love again, if you're not willing to get your heart broken. And I was just like, what? And I thought about it. It's like anytime you love and put yourself out there, there's the possibility that that person can hurt you. There's that possibility that you can be disappointed. And so you have to really work to get yourself into a place where you respond to pain in a way that's not destructive.
Oof.
That's hard. It's hard, and it definitely seems unfair because a lot of times it seems like the person, like if you play with people's feelings, there's a response to that. But I know for me, I taught both my kids, like, you don't just play with people's feelings. And I think there are a lot of people that are, I have a friend that is a judge, right? And she told me, like, a lot of times people are dating people and they don't realize that they're a psychopath or they're a sociopath. And a sociopath does not have the ability to empathize with anyone's feelings or emotions. They don't have the ability to empathize. So you're dating someone and they've never been diagnosed because their mother probably didn't know to take them, didn't recognize that. Or maybe their mother did and didn't have the money, or maybe she didn't want to see it. But you're dating someone, and when you go through something, they don't have the ability to empathize with how you feel. They can't show you sympathy because they're mentally they have mental issues beyond what you know. And that can happen. I mean, and I think even at a certain point, if you can watch, if you can continuously do behavior that puts someone else in pain that you're close to, then that's signs of a sociopathic person. Because anybody, like I said earlier, most men don't want to see pain. And most of them will say, I wasn't really trying to hurt her, I just put myself first. Because it's easier for me to put myself first. But once you understand what it is, if you have no problem hurting a person over and over and over again, then that's a mental health issue.
But I think in that, it's like the guy that goes to jail, federal jail, and comes out of prison and winds up being a better criminal. So a lot of times men just think about a different way they could do it. It still doesn't always they hurt, but if they don't know, so I figure out a better way so they won't find out. I'll be smart, and that's where you get the reincarnate. Nobody's going to go up there and do the same exact. You might do the same, but not the same way, because you're not thinking about, and this is where it becomes selfish. You're still not thinking about, you're not moving as if you're going to get, you're moving as if you're not going to get caught. I'm going to be a better criminal. I'm going to be a better cheater. This is why I messed up. I'm going to do it different this time. Then you hurt her, and she's like, you're trying to hurt me. No, I'm trying to get away with it.
I'm trying to get away with it. Let me read you this quote. This is why a young man said this the other day, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. He said, men are taught to receive pleasure and not care about giving it out. Once a man has reached his climax, not just in sex, but in general, he's going to usually stop what he's doing because he has reached his point. He said, women know what they like, but they put aside delusion on it, and women are taught to please men. A woman, he said, men like women for their compassion. A woman will break their back and split their heart open for a man. This is a 30-year-old young man saying that.
I disagree. Sorry.
Okay.
Gotta live a little longer for me, or have more experience. I don't agree with that.
So what part do you disagree with?
All of it. I think a man loves who he loves. I mean, it might not be everybody, but when he does, he does. Or when he does, that's the reason why you be like, he's just so hurt, and they hurt more because we don't do it often. And when we do it, when we really do it, not fake do it, not go through the motions do it, but when we really do it, it is unconditional. And you be like, yo, I've never seen him. He's just so mad, because we don't do it a lot. I mean, those who do
What are you guys doing in the interim?
I just think that you got a lot of people that go through the motions. And the other thing, too, it's the complete opposite. When a man is like that and you really love that woman, you want to stay. You want to be. You don't want to. That's a sign that you don't like her. That was the whole point of his calling, was it I forget the name of it. I just had a conversation on this the other day. But that's what it is. That I don't believe that. I believe it's the opposite. Now, if you say men, it takes a while or they rarely do it, I give you that. But to say we don't, and that's how we move and think, I disagree.
Well, if you rarely do it, but you do not rarely entertain women, most of the women that you're with, you really don't feel that way about. So that would be true for most of the women.
Now, you said we love, right? I heard the word love.
Yeah, but how many relationships have you been in with someone that you didn't really love?
Right. I mean, it takes. I don't go in a relationship, or I don't think it's really love if every time someone's in a relationship, they're in love. I'm like, sometimes it takes a while to get there. Sometimes you can really like the person, it just doesn't get to love. But I would be worried about the person that loved everybody they with.
That is discouraging. because the quote was that men are taught to that you kind of proved it, because you're saying that we are going to do what we want until we find the woman that we love, but we're not going to find that very often. We do it very rarely. So all these women in between.
It's not, but what I'm saying is, you don't go into it like that. It's not intentional. That's what we're getting mixed up. It's not intentional. I'm gonna go in here and not love her. You know,
But
that's
if
what
you know that you aren't and you're hurting that
no,
woman, you know that she loves you.
that's why they call it fall in love.
But I'm saying, if you know, I do, if a man is in a situation where he knows he doesn't feel that way about the woman, but he knows she feels that way about him, then what is the honorable thing for him to do?
I mean, it could be two things. I mean, the first one's obviously be like, hey, I don't want to do this no more. But I didn't know it was like a timeline on when meet a woman that's supposed to fall in love with her or love her, and then there is a difference. I didn't know there was a timeline on that. And let's just say it is. Then at that timeline, he should say, hey, you know what? I should be in love by now. Who's to say? But I'm saying nobody's going in there intentionally, you know what? I'm not going to love her. I'm going to move that. Now, you might have those situations where you just want to sleep with this person. And I get that. And we're not talking about these people. We're talking about actual relationships.
Or maybe she's just a bridge over troubled waters until you get.
We're talking about, well, it could be. Or maybe she's out of town for her girls' trip and she just wants to get her head.
We're talking about men right now, Mo. We're not talking about women.
No, but okay, let's keep it there. So maybe he's on a trip to the DR and he got.
We're talking about people in relationships.
No, but when I talked about relationships, you talked about what if he was just, I said in a relationship, if he's just doing that and he meets a woman, and is there a timeline on when he should be in love? Because she goes first and he's not there, he shouldn't be in it?
If
first?
If the quote that we got all this from was that men are taught to receive and not to care about giving it out.
I know plenty of men that give it out or in love. The underlying rate of men in those relationships when it ends, whether divorce or get cheated on, is higher than women. So how the hell are they going to tell me that?
I don't know where those stats are from, Mo. Where are those stats from?
Google that.
I will Google it.
If that ain't love, I don't know what it is. Come on, man. Don't do that.
That may be codependency. It may not be love.
Now we playing come on, man. This is what I mean about being very dismissive to how men feel like we're incapable. And I'm going to listen to a 30-something-year-old dude. I don't know his experience, and I'm not saying he doesn't know anything, but that's... But
the crazy thing is you kind of agree because you were like, we don't do it very often.
No, we don't do it any often. When we do it, it's real. We say in a relationship. I meet a lot of women doesn't mean that I make them all my girlfriends or I'm in a relationship with all of them. That's just, come on, man. That, if anything, that makes it special when he does do it. I'll be more of a...
It's special for that woman, but I'm just saying men are fine being in multiple situations with women that they know that they don't care about. That's the problem. And those women are collateral damage. We're so happy that on those 2 occasions that you do fall in love, that you do. And we want to have a lot of empathy for that. But what about all the collateral damage in between? I will say this.
If you say I love you first to that man, he don't say he loves you back, then you leave. Ain't nobody holding nobody.
A lot of times people say it, they don't mean it. They say it just to stay, they don't mean it.
I don't know what to tell you. You fall in love with what you hear. If you don't believe it, you don't believe. I don't know. Everybody's different, but to say men are incapable of loving back is crazy. If I'll be more afraid of the person that falls in love with everybody they're in relationship with. That's the person you need to be worried about. Right on time.
Well, not to end this on a toxic level, I think we all have to practice self-accountability. And I think the more we do that, you will know if a person really is for you or not. And I think a lot of times women don't leave situations they know do not serve them because they're afraid that they may not find the man that will. And that mentality never, ever breeds anything positive. So if you're not being fed, if you're not being taken care of, then I think you have to figure out how to lead. Mwadi, thank you for that. She says, I have 5 brothers. All of them are serial monogamists who love their wives and significant others. It seems like you have a very healthy that you guys came from a very healthy place, because that, and that's true. That's true too. Hey, you there? That was big. The quote did not say men aren't capable. It said men are taught, and that's what he said. He said men are taught to do this. So when in the instance that they don't, it seems like Mwadi says, I have 5 brothers, all of them are monogamous who love their wives. For a lot of men, that's not they're not around other men that would say that. You've actually said on this show a lot of times you don't hear a lot of men saying they're happily married. Most men are complaining about being married. They're not saying they enjoy being married. It's not that way. So when we hear something different. It's taught. It's not true. It's taught.
But I mean, I think it's her. I don't know if it's necessarily taught, but the influence is around. But before they're even around that, and we talk about most men are raised by single women, that's not what they get in the household.
What do they get in the household?
I don't know. You ask that single woman. There's women raising these dudes, ain't it? That's what I heard.
Well, who raised you?
I said these dudes.
I know. I said who. I'm asking from your perspective. Who raised you? Where did you get your morals from?
My father and my stepmother.
Okay. So
mother, see, it was women around. So I know yeah, there was women around. I've seen my father in a relationship with my stepmother for 11 years.
Okay. So was he happy?
I don't know. At that time, he passed away when I was 13. We didn't have those conversations. But what he did tell me was, I think it was the day of or the day after, the day before he died, pardon me. He was like, I'm never getting married again. Because he was already married twice. He was like, I'm not doing it again. I'll be with her forever. And then he said, whatever you do, don't ever get nobody's name tattooed on it. He didn't get hers, but he got ex-wife.
Another wife. Maybe tell your husband thank you for chiming in. The gangster was my husband's comment. We love that.
This is a man who had his kids taken away, scattered. He brought them together and raised them.
Yeah.
So that's the same man. And he never told me don't do anything with a woman other than don't get the name tattooed on it.
That might have been good advice. Especially since the woman he was with was not the woman whose name was tatted.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think it just, what we learned from this is we all have growing to do. Nobody is perfect. No side is perfect. Everybody has growing to do. But I do think these kind of conversations should make us be a little bit more aware of the other side. I think women definitely don't realize that men do experience pain, especially when it comes to, what happens in breakups, when it comes to their children. Just because they don't express it the same way does not mean that they don't have it. Yes, the church benediction. I don't like us to ever leave on a negative note. I like us to leave on a positive note, being solution driven, right? Not ever the type of podcast that just goes back and forth and pits us against each other. We have to find ways to do it better. I do think women are not always sensitive to men's emotions. And I definitely know men are not always sensitive to women's emotions. So I think the more we can do is work on ourselves and work on how to manage our own emotions. And that may make us more understanding and aware of someone else's emotions.
I like that.
And, if you have been toxic in your past and you have got over it, give someone else the benefit of the doubt, allow them to show you who they are. I don't think that holding someone based on something that they did when they were a child is fair. But I also think that we have to watch and pay attention and use discernment. And if something is even if the person that looks the way you want them to, got some special skills in the bedroom, if something is toxic and you are responsible for taking care of yourself, then you have to get out of that situation.
Yeah. That's interesting because I heard that argument. I only saw it once on social media, but I didn't know it was like people were really making a big deal about that.
What you mean?
That Chris Brown argument. I did see one thing, and the chick went on a rant, and she brought up like he does that. he's still a gang member and all. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a friend of mine is a journalist. She said she felt like she was going to get canceled for going to the concert. And I was just like, I mean, if you get canceled by somebody for something that you enjoy doing and they probably weren't important anyway, I'm rolling with Denzel. Denzel said you can't cancel him. Cannot cancel him because he's not following you anyway.
I like it.
I think that's a good way to end. In the words of Denzel Washington, not cancel. And Denzel was definitely a toxic person early on. He doesn't seem to be as
the old man Denzel is now telling you because he don't care.
He don't care, and he's had all his fun.
Right. He didn't tell us on his way up. He told us.
He didn't tell us when he said, I'll never forget that. He said, I will never leave my wife. I may give her a reason to leave me, but I will never leave. I was like, that is not. First, you're like, oh, he'll never leave his wife. And it's like, what? He may leave her, give her a reason to leave him. Sir, that is not good. But, you got to hear that. And as a woman, know if it's good to stay or to leave.
There you go.
Anyway, tune in for more toxicity on Friday. I had the opportunity to see the upcoming episode of Ready to Love. And if there was ever a toxic season, Philly is giving it to us. But you got to admit, they're authentic. Their authenticity borders on violently toxic. Not violence as in physical violence, but just extremely toxic. And just, it's a lot of
you gotta tell me
on there.
You gotta tell them to check out the episode that you want.
Yes, my friend Jamie and I are on the Run That Back podcast talking about more toxicity with New Edition and Sorry You're Not My Kind of Girl. We've talked about the fact that I don't like that song. I go into grave detail, and we talk about why it was such a shock for a fan of New Edition to hear that same BS. You're very pretty. I like how you dress, but you're not my type of girl.
Because he wasn't looking for that night. That's the problem. That's the part y'all keep missing.
I think he just did not want to hurt her.
He
did not want to hurt her feelings.
And we have a Sesame Street. It was funny.
Yes, the Sesame Street. And I want to know what the comments were on that, because I saw that I reposted the clip, which was hilarious. But yes, you guys watch for the Sesame Street reference, and it's going to be. I promise you'll enjoy that. Yes, Tammy, check out that episode. We went through the whole New Edition album, and we did pull out. We definitely talked about Sorry You're Not My Kind of Girl, and if Can You Stay in the Rain had a reference, do they owe Sesame Street some money? I say yes.
I say yes.
Mo and I agreed. C Boogie and my girlfriend Jamie, who was a DJ, did not. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. So check out the Run That Back podcast, and then check out Friday. Trust me, family. It's going to be an interesting episode of Ready to Love. And I will also post that clip of Melody talking about Martell. She says she's not holding back. She's letting it go. I don't know what that means. But if you want to check out C. Martell and Ariane in the flesh, make sure you click the link in my bio on Instagram. I got tickets, a special discount. If you want to go to the Soul Symphony weekend, Martell and Ariane have already RSVP'd. So we look forward to that. And, like I said, get you a ticket. Come see for yourself. And then we can talk about it. We could talk about it one of these Fridays. One of these Friday nights. All right, Mo, get some rest. You guys end the week strong. We love you guys for watching. Make sure that you like this on the way out. Don't leave without liking this broadcast.
Yes.
And make sure you're subscribed. We'll see you guys Friday at 10.
Friday, y'all. All right.